Here's Batman Returns on the Genesis, released in 1992 and developed by Malibu Interactive. This was an important licensed title for Sega of America. It's an action platformer where you play as Batman, but you'd never know it. That's because Batman is woefully underpowered in this game. His hitbox is giant and his reach is short. He takes damage very easily and his life depletes quickly. He does have a utility belt to throw projectiles, but these are limited in supply. If you run out, you have absolutely no choice but to take hits from some enemies. The gameplay feels very stiff and disjointed, which is not helped at all by the poor level design. You have to hold up on the D-pad for what feels like a second before you can use your grappling hook. The graphics have some good ideas in the visual design, but come off as dark and extremely grainy. It's not pleasant looking at all. The music actually has some potential, but unfortunately the sound quality of the GEM sound driver brings it way down. Hell, a lot of the music doesn't even play correctly on a Model 1 Genesis because they didn't bother to test the game with anything but a Model 2 console. Sunsoft's Batman for the Genesis, which was released a few years earlier, is a much better game at half the memory. Batman is far more nimble, especially with his grappling hook and his jumping. Of course, the music blows the stuff in Batman Returns away. I'm sure the developers of Batman Returns here saw it, but somehow deluded themselves into thinking that the game they were working on was somehow better. I wonder how they felt when they saw Konami's excellent Batman Returns on the Super NES. This game absolutely thrashes the Genesis game to an honestly embarrassing degree. Somehow, Sega of America probably still thought that their game was better because they go on to make more games of the same low quality. Sega spent money to have the developers go to the movie set to watch some of the scenes be filmed. I think the money could have been better spent on gameplay design, but it probably wouldn't have made any difference, honestly. Overall, the game is pretty dreadful to play. But did you know that Sega actually did make a fantastic Batman Returns game on the Game Gear? This is another side-scrolling action platformer, but in this one you might actually find yourself having fun. As Batman, you attack with an unlimited supply of batarangs that behave with a boomerang behavior. But you have three different strengths of these that you can adjust in the pause. You can have them travel further, but of course then your attack is a bit weaker. And of course, the strong attack is super short. In addition to this, you can call in the Batmobile for a special attack as long as the back in stock remains. In each stage, you start by choosing your route. Which do you choose, route or your route? Both will be the same stage, but with different layouts. Route 2 is usually a bit tougher than Route 1. You can use your grappling hook to ascend a certain block. You can
Round
also
2.
use it to maneuver yourself
Ready,
over bottomless
go!
chasms. Naturally, you have a life bar. There are bat icons scattered throughout each stage which will offer some life refills or allow you to use the Batmobile's special attack an additional time. Naturally, each stage ends in a boss fight, and you'll need to learn their pattern. The graphics are really good for the handheld, and the stage design really makes the game fun. The sound was done by Motohiro Kawashima, who works with Yuzo Koshiro a lot, and that means the music here is actually quite good.
Knockout!
Batman Returns also showed up in Europe,
Round
Australia,
3.
and Brazil on the
Ready,
Master System.
go!
Based on the same game, but this version is sadly worse and features reduced colors. They took away the life bar and now you die in one hit. You don't have a menu to select different ranges of attack. And somehow they managed to make the control feel worse, especially the grappling. So,
Knockout!
the Game Gear version here if you want to have a fun side-scrolling Batman Returns game on a Sega platform.
今日は私の勝ちね。
was rather disappointed with this next game when it came out because I had hoped it would be better than the 8-bit versions which preceded it. But no. Here's Double Dragon on the mighty 16-bit Sega Genesis. This port from Accolade, or Ballistic, attempts to recreate the arcade faithfully. Honestly, the graphics are a little better and more colorful than the arcade. It looks great. Also, the arcade game was plagued with slowdown, and this version doesn't have any of that. In fact, it seems to run at warp speed. It also lets up to 2 players play simultaneously. Unfortunately, that's about where the good things I can say about this one ends. To be fair, this was made as an unlicensed title without an official software development kit. They tried to incorporate the same control scheme with the jump, kick, and punch buttons, with jump being in the middle unless you reassign them. This works okay, but man, the controls sometimes work and sometimes don't. That's mainly because the enemy attacks you in very quick succession. Get 2 or 3 on screen and you might as well not even bother to press any buttons because their attacks take priority. Of course, you can move around the screen, but the enemies follow you very closely. What the hell, am I magnetic? Also, when I advance, why do I need to be so damn close to the edge of the screen to make it scroll? You can walk right into a waiting enemy that you didn't see. And you really need to be careful around gaps like this. Oops. Also, in the final stage, aren't bricks supposed to be jutting out of this part to push me off? I'm guessing I just didn't get close enough to trigger them. Despite all this, you can just power your way through this game's 4 levels and beat it in no time. Lastly, the music sounds awful. Did they just take a MIDI file and assign random instruments and not listen to it to see how it sounds?
Round 1. Ready, go!
Wow, it's just like my personality. Now, there are fan patches that fix everything here from the music to the speed, but keep in mind that this is a detailed release of this episode. We all know that Genesis can be much better than this.
Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go!
Double Dragon on the Sega Master System is a better game in most respects. It retains the 2-player action and it has much better sounding music regardless of the listen to it in the default PSG or the FM soundtrack.
Round 3.
Everything is a lot smaller.
Ready,
very
go!
colorful. It still looks fantastic for this game. And it's just a lot more fun. Even with only 2 buttons. You have to press both buttons at the same time to jump, and it doesn't take long to get used to. Most of the moves are still here, but it can be tough to pull off with only 2 buttons, much less make contact with an enemy. The game loses all of the bits where you can climb on the ladder. In fact, the game loses all of the verticality of the original.
Knockout!
Right here. Whoa! Oh, and right here. Whoa, man, how did they do that? That is a trip. It is a flickery mess, which is this one's biggest downfall, but overall, it's much more enjoyable than the Genesis game. And hell, even the NES version of Double Dragon is better than the Genesis version. This one right here was a mega hot game when it was released. Of course, when it came out, it was hard to get thanks to one of Nintendo's many chip shortages, which only made it more desirable. Nintendo knows that scarcity creates demand and headlines. Anyway, this version is single player, which sucks, but it still plays a great game of Double Dragon. Some might even argue that it's better than the Sega Master System version, and people who argue that do have a point. For example, this game adds a lot of extra areas and level extensions that are unique to this version. That's pretty cool, though some of these areas don't work well with the control because you can't move up or down, so you're stuck on a single plane. I still like these areas though. One thing you need to look out for are the looping levels. This level will repeat forever unless you know to go into one of the holes here. Same with this level. Don't fight these abobos, instead climb up, because if you fight and defeat them, the game won't let you climb up afterwards for some reason. One thing that you may or may not like is that you have to earn your moves by defeating enemies. Once you murder enough enemies, you'll get a heart, and a new move becomes available that you can do. The graphics are muted, but still great for the time. The flicker is limited because only you and 2 enemies are allowed on screen at any given time. Even with that, this game is quite challenging.
Round 1.
The enemy is
Ready,
very adept at avoiding
go!
Unfortunately, this one sets you back 10 minutes and there are no continues, so good luck. Still, this game is great. Once again, I want to mention the Game Boy version. This one takes the NES design over things no longer after earning the lead. However, there are exclusive areas that will remind you of the NES, and you'll likely have more fun playing this than the Genesis
Knockout!
game. So the Master System, Game Boy, and the NES version here
Round
are all
two.
better than the 16-bit
Ready,
Genesis version.
go! Knockout!
Lastly, we have Super Monkey Ball for the game.
Round three.
This is one of my
Ready,
favorite games
go!
of all time. Definitely my favorite game for the console. Super Monkey Ball 2 is also fantastic, but not as good as Part 1. But I need to mention it in this section anyway. The object of the game is to guide your monkey to the goal. I don't mean to toot my own horn, maybe I do, but I'm really good at this game. I can't tell you how many hours I put into this one. I never get sick.
Knockout!
But then Super Monkey Ball Deluxe came out for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. This was released in 2005. The PlayStation 2 is weaker than the GameCube, so that version doesn't count for
あ
this
なたには
episode.
クンフーが足
However,
りない
the
わ
Xbox is quite a bit more powerful. The disc has both Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. Is this package better than the GameCube originals? Well, yes and no. The first game does now feature optional widescreen as well as 480p graphics, whereas the original didn't, and that's pretty cool. And there are also a lot of new stages that are unique to this version, at least they were for the time. Mostly, this is a fantastic disc with tons of content, at least on the Xbox. You don't want to play the PS2 version. However, there are some issues with the control. This boils down to two issues. One is that there's very little or no dead zone on the Xbox controller. The other is that the Xbox analog stick has much less swing than the GameCube analog stick. That makes the control here extremely sensitive. It's very tough to get past stages like this because the game's going to react to every little nuance and micro vibration. If blood just happens to pump through your thumb at the wrong time, well, off you go. It is still doable, but you really do need to make sure you're in a very zen-like state so that you don't accidentally overcorrect. Sega seems to have acknowledged this, at least in a few of the brand new stages. Like here, you kind of get locked on when trying to get on these thin tracks. I didn't do that. The game did that on its own. This is still an excellent title, but the GameCube controller just can't be beat. Then, in 2021, Sega released Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania on all of the modern platforms of the time. And I have all of the console versions. That's what kind of Monkey Ball fan I am. I made an entire video about this one back then, but not a whole lot of you saw it, so I figured I'd remind everyone about this one. It upgrades both Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 to 4K visuals and 16:9, which is of course to be expected. It really does look good, for Super Monkey Ball. It sounds pretty nice too, and if you spend extra money, you can get the original music if you prefer. Anyway, like Super Monkey Ball Deluxe, this one has control issues, but the controls here are considerably worse. A lot of this is due to how the camera now tracks your monkey. It's just not the same, and as a result, you can over or under correct your tilt. You do have control of the camera with the second analog stick, which is cool, but it's not always a blessing. If you move the camera while you're tilting the board, you're probably going to have a bad time. But as to be expected, it goes beyond the camera and into the controls themselves. Getting past this stage is nearly impossible for me on any version of this game. The controls are just way too sensitive. I always end up overcorrecting, and that results in my doom. Keep in mind that I'm really good at this game. I'm not just some random loser. Getting past it on the GameCube is easy peasy.
Round
Any
one.
underdeveloped fetus.
Ready,
I really
go!
think even using a real controller on the Switch version isn't helpful. So there must be some underlying issues with the way the controls are programmed here. Not only that, but they do
Knockout!
physics. In the original game, you could pull forward and bounce right into the
Round
ball in
two.
this stage.
Ready,
You
go!
can do this in Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. At least they got the physics and the trick that you could do the same in that. In Banana Mania, you bounce has a different effect applied, and you'll fall through the stage every time you try that.
甘いわね
You might say that they did this to challenge expert players.
Knockout!
I don't believe that for a second. I mean, they made lots of other changes to make the game easier.
Round 3.
Like eliminating gaps.
Ready,
go!
go!
This Anthropod stage. That's essentially the original and also the Monkey Ball Deluxe. With an animation, you see that they decreased the gap amount so that it requires no skill at all. So yeah, that argument just doesn't hold up. And they even ruined the mini games. Monkey Target is the only one I care about, and it's hard to even make it anywhere to land. Like I said, they changed the physics. I don't know why. I wish they didn't. There was no reason for that. No version of this game has a perfectly locked 60 frames per second at all times. The PlayStation 5 version is by far the worst. There's plenty of stuttering. But honestly, this game should be running at or close to 120 frames per second. It's not like there's a ton of geometry here. The PlayStation 4 version actually runs better than the PS5 version. Anyway, don't get me wrong. The Animania here is a good game, especially if you haven't played the originals. But if you want a real challenge with extremely precise and fair controls, you've got to play the original on the GameCube.
今日は私の勝ちね
And there you go, some examples of games that were better on lesser powered hardware. This one was really fun to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I do have a few other examples of games that meet this criteria that I wasn't able to fit in this episode, so maybe we'll come back to it. But how about you? Do you have any examples of games that are better on weaker powered consoles? If so, let me know. And in the meantime, thank you for watching Gamertag.
Hi, how you doing? And welcome to the Joe Rudder Show. Today's topic, people who look like me. Now let's bring out our first guest, Mr. Dwight Zimble. How you doing today, Joe? Just fine, Dwight. Now could you please tell us why you're here?
Round
Well,
1.
Joe, as you
Ready,
see,
go!
You see, I look like you. And why who wants to look like you? Did you just come here to insult me? Is that what you're trying to do? Is to insult me? Seems to be very easy to do. It's fast travel. You can just get on it. Now, I'm not going into it. Well, I'm just gonna have to kill you. This has been the Joe Rudder Show. Thank you. And good.
Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout!
Ja! Don't worry, pal. I won't forget you.
Come here, sweetheart. Oh, is it? The eyes are the first to go.
Studies show our relationship with money is formed from the age of 7. To start a new one, talk to us today.
Skyfall.
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout!
The amazing price of just £29 a month.
大したことない
Most
わね
plane doors aren't locked. There are no keys, no sensors or passcodes to secure them. If someone wants to pull the lever, they can.
A man opened the emergency exit door and forced his way off the plane.
And yet, with 40 million flights each year, these doors are virtually never opened in flight. So why not?
It's self-preservation, surely.
Common sense.
Most people are, smart enough to not mess with that.
The real answer relies on where planes fly.
How high do planes fly, approximately? 10,000 kilometers, or is that overshooting it? I think that's overshooting it. I think you'd be in space. 25,000 kilometers. That's the height of a plane flying. Is that way too low? It's too much. It's too much. Bring it down. Maybe 1,000 kilometers? 1,000 kilometers, still space.
50,000 feet, I think.
Some of them can go up to 43,000 feet. 30,000. 38,000 feet. Yeah. Why do they fly that high?
I don't know. Safety, I guess.
Probably to avoid collision with other aircrafts, and if there's high mountain ranges, I don't know, when the storms or weather hit.
My guess is to avoid turbulence. I think that's a decent guess.
Now, it's true that one of the benefits of flying at 30,000 feet is a smoother ride. This is high in the troposphere, the layer in which most weather occurs. So there's less turbulence and fewer storms to navigate around.
But this is not the main reason that planes fly so high. The bigger reason, of course, is money.
As you go up, the density of air decreases. And at 33,000 feet or 10 kilometers, the density of air is just a third of what it is at sea level. So flying at this altitude, the plane runs into a third of the air molecules it would closer to the ground. That means the plane can fly about 73% faster for the same amount of thrust. And as a result, you get to your destination faster, and since you spend less time in the air, you burn less fuel.
It seems in a way that, climbing is wasted energy. Can you compare, the descent to the ascent? Do you essentially get the energy back as you fall down the other side?
Yeah. When we climb, we burn about 80 kilos per minute. In cruise, we burn about 40 kilos per minute. And in descent, it's maybe 10. So it's almost negligible.
Not only that, jet engines are more efficient at altitude. They work by compressing air at the intake, mixing it with fuel, and igniting it, so the combustion products are ejected very fast from the exhaust nozzle. Now, this process is more efficient the colder the air is.
And at altitude, the temperature is around minus 50 degrees Celsius. which is a lot colder than an average of plus 15 here at the ground.
So flying higher means you burn less fuel for less time and avoid the weather and associated turbulence at lower altitudes.
The other reason you want to fly high is to take advantage of the jet stream tailwinds, and the company likes people who do that.
Round one. Ready, go! Knockout! Round two. Ready, go! Knockout! Round three. Ready, go! Excellent! Round four. Ready, go! Knockout! Round five. Ready, go! Knockout!
Because you're burning less fuel, so it's less money.
But there is a problem with flying this high. The air up there is unbreathable.
If you were suddenly teleported to the top of Mount Everest, a height lower than planes fly, you would remain conscious for only about 3 minutes. This is because in addition to density dropping with altitude, so does air pressure. Air pressure actually falls off faster because it depends on the weight of all the air above you. So at 10 kilometers, the air pressure is only a quarter of what it is at sea level. To be clear, the air is still 21% oxygen, but the partial pressure of oxygen, the pressure exerted solely by oxygen molecules, is around 5.5 kilopascals, which is a quarter of what it is on the ground. Now at this pressure, not enough oxygen molecules can force their way into your blood in your lungs. To function normally, humans need an oxygen partial pressure of at least 16 kilopascals. So all the cabins of airplanes that cruise at high altitude must be pressurized. A little bit of air is continuously brought into the cabin from outside. It actually comes in from the compression stage of the jet engines. That is what maintains breathable air inside the plane.
The downside is that you are taking away a little bit of the efficiency of the engines.
Now, pressurizing the cabin required a radical redesign of aircraft.
Before pressurization, planes would fly up to 10,000 feet, or around 3 kilometers, where the partial pressure of oxygen is 15 kilopascals, just the limit of what people can handle. On these planes, doors opened outward, and there wasn't much concern about the seal around them, since the pressure was the same on both sides. But once planes were pressurized, all the doors were changed to be the shape of a plug.
Oh, for God's sake, you don't have a proposition.
I don't think anything. Just leaving.
That's a very unpleasant accusation to make, mate. You think that would be twice about it. I'm not kidding. I could have worked with someone who thought about it.
Just think.
Round one.
Wider on the inside.
Ready, go!
That way, the higher pressure inside the cabin pushes the door into its frame, creating an airtight seal.
How airtight is the cabin?
Pretty airtight, but not completely airtight. So you'll notice, for example, every time that someone flushes the toilet, you'll see some of the air pressure go down. So every time that happens, you can actually see the cabin altitude jump a little bit.
Knockout!
And this...
Round two. Ready, go! Knockout! Round three. Ready, go!
Don't need locks. The difference in pressure between the pressurized cabin and the low-pressure exterior is so great that no one is strong enough to pull the door inwards.
And if someone had come up and turned that while you're mid-flight?
Nothing. Even modern plane doors that open outward are shaped like plugs. They're just cleverly designed. The main passenger door on a Boeing 737 is both wider and taller than the frame it needs to pass through. But when you pull the lever, gates at the top and bottom fold in, reducing the height just enough. However, the sides are still too wide, so the door first has to pop inside and rotate. It's that movement inwards that is impossible at altitude. It would require a force equivalent to lifting 9,000 kilograms. And airplane cabins aren't even fully pressurized to the sea level pressure of 101.3 kilopascals. You may have noticed this if you take a bag of chips on a plane. It's easy to squish on the ground, but as the plane climbs, the pressure in the cabin drops and the chip bag seems to inflate like a balloon. I measured the pressure in my plane, and at cruising altitude, the pressure dropped to 77 kilopascals, meaning the partial pressure of oxygen was only 16 kilopascals, the minimum required for people on the plane to feel normal. This has some unintended consequences.
Do you think you fart more in a plane? If I did, I'd blame someone else.
I feel like no.
Nope.
No. I can't let it no way at all. Do you think you fart more in a plane than on the ground?
Dangerous. No hesitation. Sure, we've got to do it.
So as you go up, that cavity in here now expands, and the air wants to go somewhere. And the quickest place it can go is south.
Bag of chips just popped by itself. Now, the International Space Station is pressurized to sea level pressure, 101.3 kilopascals.
So why are planes pressurized to the minimum extent possible to carry human passengers? Well, it's actually for a very good reason.
In 1988, Aloha Airlines 243 was en route from Hilo to Honolulu, Hawaii. The cabin was being pressurized as we described, but unfortunately, this plane's fuselage had a small crack. And all of a sudden, at 24,000 feet, the crack widened, and the whole roof tore off the front of the plane.
Off the beaten track. That's what it was. We're always ready to go country line, where you can retreat from the process and connect you or meals and goods. The chef and brewer collection.
Miraculously, the pilots were able to land safely and only one person was killed. The difference between the International Space Station and a plane is that the ISS was pressurized once and it stays pressurized.
But a plane experiences a pressure difference every time it climbs to cruising altitude. So the fuselage is stretched and then relaxed with every flight. Stretch, relax, stretch, relax.
The Aloha Airlines plane had the second highest 737 flight cycle count in the world, with nearly 90,000 in total. That's way more than it was designed for.
This led to fatigue, cracking, corrosion, and the eventual explosive decompression.
So planes are pressurized to the least extent possible to minimize stresses and extend the life of the plane. But even 75% of atmospheric pressure should be plenty to prevent the doors from opening. So how did this happen in May 2023?
The passenger panicked and actually managed to open an Airbus emergency exit in flight. They were on kind of approach them, they were quite close to the ground, and pressure differential was very little. And because of him using all of his force, he actually managed to get the door open, which was crazy, and we didn't think that that was possible, but if you want something bad enough, I guess it is.
Was he okay?
He was okay. Everyone was okay in that case.
That was a pretty serious mishap. So I guess the next logical question is, have any other passengers inadvertently caused a mishap by, say, forgetting to put their phone on airplane mode? When you're sitting there on the tarmac and they come on and tell you to put your phone on airplane mode, do you do it? And why do they get us to do that? What is the reason? Is there a reason?
Obviously, they wouldn't ask you to do it if it wasn't for some benefit.
I'm unfortunately a bit of a rebel and I don't follow the rules. And yeah.
You're not worried about taking the plane down?
I make sure my parents have the airplane mode on so I can have it off.
I mean, yes, I do, because I don't really interfere with like radio or whatever.
Well, I think it's the communication interference.
I feel like I've always been told like it messes up like instruments, but honestly, they're always just told to do it, so put your phone on airplane mode.
In 1961, the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, found that some portable FM radios could interfere with plane navigation systems since they used neighboring radio bands. And out of caution, they banned almost all personal electronics on flights. But airlines could test any device for interference and overrule the FAA ban to allow it on board. Any device that is, except a phone, because another organization has jurisdiction over phones, and that's the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC. See, a phone on the ground with buildings and hills around it can usually only see 1 or 2 cell towers at the same time. But from the air, it could see 10 or 20 or more. The concern was that 200 phones traveling at 800 kilometers per hour in a plane could rapidly connect to many towers at once, overloading the infrastructure. At least, that's what the FCC thought could happen. So they banned cell phone use in flight in 1991. But there's a problem with this theory. A plane is a big metal enclosure, essentially a Faraday cage, so it should block almost all electromagnetic signals. That's why plane antennas are located on the outside. Your phone signals can only escape through the windows, which means they go horizontally out the sides of the plane, so they would have to travel long distances before reaching the ground. And the cell towers your phone is trying to connect to, well, they are tilted downwards, to collect all the signals from people walking around on the ground. So it's very hard to make a connection from the air unless you're flying really low. So phones could only conceivably disrupt ground networks during takeoff or landing. And the FCC never even tested if this was the case. In 2005, they went before Congress and said the rule banning 800 megahertz cell phone use in flight may not be needed in order to protect ground-based cellular networks.
And we're back in third quarter planning. Adams is going back to this project and he's looking pretty tired.
She's stuck though, and that deadline is looming.
Looms for us all, Joe.
Wait a minute. She gets to grammar.
That is a smart move by Adams. Grammarly is an AI writing firm. Helps you make your point.
Look at that girl. She just asked grandmother to help her write a summary of her doc, and she's shortening it. Beautifully done.
As far as we know, a mobile phone has never caused an air accident.
A
all airplane mode does for sure is save your battery life. So why are these rules still around?
I've been flying myself, and where I've gotten interference, you know, when you're talking to a traffic controller and you get that beep, 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 you know, that signal. And that is because someone is either using their phone or the phone is on. Will one phone in an aircraft cause any problems? Probably not. Will 200 do something? Maybe. Rather than taking the chance of, like, let's everyone update their Twitter profile at 500 feet. Rather than saying that, we're saying no, you know, just keep them off, you know, enjoy the Wi-Fi up at altitude, and that's it.
But airplane mode might soon be a thing of the past. The EU actually no longer requires it, and is pushing for airlines to provide 5G service on all EU flights.
So we may eliminate that inconvenience, but we still have to deal with airplane food. What do you think about airplane food? I want you to eat the bread rolls. Is anything I can add?
Round one. Ready, go!
Consistency. Do you think the food tastes as good in the plane as it would on the ground?
No.
But bad tasting food might not be all the airlines' fault. So the air that's pumped into the cabin at altitude is really dry, and the Sahara Desert, for reference, has an average relative humidity of 25%. But inside an airplane, it can be as low as 5%.
This can dry out
Round two.
passages.
Ready, go!
The lower cabin pressure can also increase sensations like the intensity of salt and sugar. But there's one flavor that appears to be intense in flight. What do you drink here?
Knockout!
I mean, Coke, that's diesel.
Round three. Ready, go!
First one today.
A German survey of 1,000 flyers found that more than a quarter of them ordered tomato juice in the flight. And what's really weird is that 23% of those people would never drink it on the ground.
And if you bring Bloody Mary, would that be like a standard bar, or is it a special flame drink? So why is everyone ordering tomato juice? Well, it could be because of the noise. A 2015 study points to the chorda tympani, a nerve that carries information from the tongue to the brainstem. It runs right past the ear gap between the
Round four.
sound-conducting bones.
Ready,
So
go!
loud eye noise is unintentionally stimulating.
This could produce an audio illusion that boosts our sense of umami, the savory taste you find in MSG, soy sauce, well, tomato.
I always drink tomato juice. I never knew why. It just felt like my plane drink. Well, spicy tomato juice? Yeah. My flamethrowers are favorites of mine.
So next time you're on a flight, don't forget to extra
Knockout!
Maybe try the tomato juice.
I feel like
Round five. Ready, go!
I know that we talk a lot about accidents and incidents, and we dig into them really, really deep, and people might ask, why would we do this? Doesn't that just make people even more afraid of flying? The fact is that this is one of the prime reasons why our nation is as safe as it is. The fact that we have hundreds of professionals that dig deep into these accidents means that we learn from them. So every flight becomes a little bit safer. That's actually a big reason that I started my channel, Mentor Pilot, in the first place. Because I promise you, the more you know, the safer you'll feel.
Do you think that climate change increases turbulence? Depends on what people think.
It's been a bit about news recently, hasn't it?
Today, the media tends to prioritize sensationalized headlines over key details. Part of why airplane mode is still such a big deal today is because of the media frenzy it started in the 1960s. So it's more important than ever to look at all sides of the story. This is why we specifically asked Ground News to sponsor this video. Recent stories about the increase in turbulence come from a 2023 study that suggested a link to climate change. Yet this study was barely reported on by the media, totally eclipsed by other major events. The Ground News lets you see the whole picture. You can easily compare the coverage and verify the source of the information. If you look closer, you'll see that some of the outlets, like The Independent and the SCMP, argue that climate change is making flying more dangerous.
while others, like the Free Press, paint a different picture by dismissing the study. That's why it's really important to look at all the information. But Ground News doesn't only highlight breaking news on things like science and aviation, they also specifically show blind spot stories the media isn't covering. Veritasium is all about getting to the truth, and Ground News' mission is to provide all sides of every story so that we can do that for ourselves. So I encourage you to check them out at groundnews.com/VER. The link is below, or you can scan this QR code. Make sure to subscribe through our link to save 40% off unlimited access. By supporting Ground News, you're not only getting a tool we need now more than ever, but you're directly supporting this channel and our work in the meantime. So, I want to thank Ground News for sponsoring this video, and I want to thank you for watching.
Hey, what do we got here? A whole lot of silver. Let me help you out real quick. The old man is crazy about silver. He's going to be like a kid on Christmas morning.
Round one. Ready, go! Knockout! Round two. Ready, go! Knockout! Round three. Ready, go! Knockout!
Try again in a few years.
Round one. Ready, go! Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout!
You'll never be a match for me.
Round one. Ready, go! Knockout! Round two. Ready, go! Knockout! Round three. Ready, go! Knockout! Round four. Ready, go! Knockout! Round five. Ready, go! Excellent! この強さが怖い。よし、行くぞ。Round one. Ready, go! Knockout! Round two. Ready, go! Knockout! Round three. Ready, go!
conversations you had with Volcano show. It was very interesting.
Yeah, he loves like,
Yeah, he's looking at binding himself to get stronger, which is great.
He really wants to participate in the approach. It's real and he, if you watch the matches, he was very confident that I was wondering why.
Yeah, why he wasn't crushing you?
Like why he wasn't well crushing. So,
yeah. I think that's easier than punishing with Shoryuken.
Yeah, no, it's way easier. But I mean,
I've only ever gotten one of those out in a match. Round one. Ready, go!
You get used to it. You get used to the time.
Is it timing? It is like
Excellent! Round two. Ready, go!
Yeah, you get used to it. I'm still working on it. I'm not entirely skilled on it.
Knockout!
Oh, yellow launcher. It's a beautiful.
Round three. Ready, go!
Oh.
Ooh.
Knockout!
This is a lot of fun.
You know what you're getting yourself into.
Let's see if you can walk the walk. Round one. Ready, go! Knockout!
This thing will win.
Round two. Ready, go!
Guaranteed since Street 2K hit you.
Knockout!
Oh no, the timing was like...
Round three. Ready, go!
That was a lot of fun. Keep seeing Honda play solo games. It's a lot of fun. A lot of
Knockout!
I think he's using back pressure for it or something.
You're no match for me.
But the reason I like the netcode here on this game more is because of that. I feel like this game's in terms of anything that's static.
Round one. Ready, go!
I feel like those Final Showdown. This was true PS3 and this is
Knockout! Round two. Ready, go!
It might look like you got not exactly that, or like you got
Knockout!
But you won't really see it. So the netcode will smooth it.
Round three. Ready, go!
Again, halfway 0901. Halfway code.
Ring out!
Anything for live related
Round four. Ready, go!
I wish you could run it, but no, it's impossible. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this interesting stuff to chat about.
Knockout!
We can talk about Portland as well.
Round five. Ready, go!
Yeah.
Oh, Chuck will never, just, it doesn't matter.
So, yeah, usually it's combined
knockout!
both Dagger and Tekken trainers, but it also has Smash. And Multi-Gear. So, I believe yesterday the event ended. Even though PAX is going on, there's a lot of people at PAX right now. So even despite that, it still was able to get attendance around 130 or so. And you know, Panda had been thinking about how I wanted to present Virtua Fighter at that specific event, because we do organize
this is where
events.
You
and both him and I discussed exhibitions.
Round one. Ready, go!
Especially between Tekken and Soul Calibur tournaments, so it would work with fighters. And you get players from other games to kind of try to focus on set watching if it was only one matchup, it would have been good. But because it was two matches and trying to fit it within 1 hour, you know, explain that we were fitting it in 1 hour, we said, let's do 2 first seconds.
Round two.
So,
ready,
it
go!
was a really fun thing. Unfortunately, I didn't watch it, but I really am happy that we got, you know, 4 very strong players to participate and show their GF matches to others. It's really good, and I know that I would like to join I would like to try to get Dark Knight. I think it's
Round 3. Ready, go!
Yeah, in Portland, you could the $5 drive.
It's a 3
Yeah.
Take that! 2.5 hours, 3 hours. A lot of people do. A lot of people drive for 3 hours. I do.
Knockout!
I thought it would be a lot.
Round 4. Ready,
I'm
go!
Alright, this is the last match of the first week, so any last match is 1 point, that's 0901.
That's a great conversion.
Knockout!
I wonder if Solari's still there. I saw him sign up for Vortex Down online tournament. But I'm a little confused. It say online like October 10th, and then a November 2024 deadline to register. So is it October 10th when it starts, or I'll ask later on.
I might be able to do it.
Alright, you guys, good luck. Have fun, everyone.
Good luck, everyone.
私の強さを見せてやろう。時は来たれる。行くぞ。
No idea.
Round 1. Ready, go!
The deadline to take the most November 2024. Then I see that you take the toilet something like that. Right. And last week,
knockout! Round 2.
Okay.
Ready, go! Knockout!
You must see a no for ninja skin.
Round 3. Ready, go! Ring out! Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout!
How you punch it well.
Round 5. Ready, go!